Hey, everybody, welcome to module number 6 or week number 6. Again, I probably said it 1,000 times already this semester. I'll say it again. This is just amazing how quickly we are moving through this. We have 3 weeks left in the class. I know some of you probably are excited about getting this over with. I know some of you might be getting a little overwhelmed to get hit the end of here, but we are getting close to that end, and we do want to make sure that we're keeping that focus as we continue working through our different pieces here. Let's take a look at what we have in module number 6, and this is researching the conversation. And so what we are really looking at doing this module is going through and being able to find sources that are valid, that are usable, that are good sources to use to back up your argument. And then how do you talk to other people about them? So when you think about, here's a topic, and then I got this source, how do you find the good pieces in it, and how do you share that with other people in a way that validates and back up your position? That's a real challenge at times, because it's easy to find the source, but it's harder to find the sources that are really going to push your argument forward, right? And so that's what we're really going to be looking at. The goal for this week or this module is to find those sources in support of our last paper or the argumentative paper that we're going to write. So it gives you a little breakdown here. We get the assigned task and the course objectives, and then let's take a look at um, the argument paper writing project number 3. You will also see this called in some of the information for this course, the researched paper, okay, the researched essay. So you'll see it called both of those. But what we're going to do is for week 7, we'll do the first draft. Week 8, we'll do the final draft of this. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a research paper that argues a position. So you're going to take a position on this topic, and you're going to argue it, and you're going to use these sources to back up your claims and really sell it to other people. Now, the topic is you get to pick within this broad topic that we're talking about, of food and culture and society. Now, you can take something very specific off of the closed readings that we've been looking at. You can take one of those topics and develop it further. You can come up with a new topic. A lot of times I get papers about food deserts, how we can solve that, what we can do to solve the obesity crisis, or to say that there isn't a crisis. We just let people do what they're going to do. You can go in any of these different routes. You have a lot of different possibilities here. Okay, but using those kinds of closed reading that we've been looking at up to this point, develop a topic out of that, and then you're going to argue a position. Now, I want you to be careful, because like the first paper we summarized and I gave my opinion on it, and then my second one I looked at these two sources and how do they compare to each other. This one, I'm pitching my own ideas, and this is an argumentative paper, okay? So we want to use those argumentative pieces to really state, back up, and promote a claim that we're making. So this just gives you the breakdown of the information of this essay. Again, the first draft is not due until week 7 or module number 7, but they're giving you this information in advance because the research we do this module will be in support of that. So we have the argumentative thesis statement, and this is where you clearly state what the topic is and what your position is. Now, in that thesis statement, we do not use I or I will or my paper is about or anything like that. So it might be like food deserts are crippling low-income communities, and here's a way that it could be fixed, right? Here's a way that could be done. Um, you don't necessarily have to be so direct about your solution. You can hint toward it and you can develop it further in the paper, but you do have to give us a sense of where this paper is going. And it should be very clear from moment one what your stance is, right? Where that stance is. The introduction, that attention getter, where you really draw us in with that information, this would be a great place for you to give us some sort of illustrative attention getter, so we can really see what the topic is, right? We can empathize with that topic. And then the arguments. And this is where you say, here's the topic. You kind of give that information and then clearly show us how we get to the point that you're making. Now, we already have your position, right? We already know where you stand in the introduction. So this argument shows us all this backup in the body that kind of works us to your position. Why it's a problem, what makes it a problem, what things have been done in the past to solve it. What is your solution, and what are you suggesting we do? Arrangement. So now this one is where you start to think a lot about organization. Like, how do you organize a paper to really get your point across? Like, if you think about cooking shows, for instance, they always show you like the finished product. Like, hey, look at this cake. You like this? Let's make one. And then you start from scratch, right? So do you show, like, do you start off with, here's like this real problem. Now, how did we get here, and where do we go from here? That could work, right? Maybe you just kind of work us up like, here's an issue, here's the issue. Look at where we're at now. Here's a solution. So again, the organization is going to be what works best for you in this, right? You have to think that through for your own. In module 7, you're going to turn in the half draft, okay? And for the half draft, you're looking for 600 to 700 words in MLA or APA style. Now, again, I will push. If you can turn in more than that, that is awesome. Partially because, it moves stuff off of your plate, right? Like it. So in week 8, with the last week we have, you're not struggling as much, right? But you also get more feedback on more of the paper. You're getting more information from me to help you really improve your paper. So it really does help you out there. The final draft then will go into module number 8. And again, we're going to use APA or MLA style, whichever you feel more comfortable with. And the final version will be 1,250 words. So let's talk about some of the things that we have going on this module that you need to be doing. And one of the big first things is the closed research theme background reading check-in. And again, like what we've done before, you take a reading and you just share with us what you were thinking of, right? So in a new submission, how does it relate to the readings that you have already read? How does this background respond to guiding your theme for where you're wanting to go, right? So if you use, you can use a research piece, a piece that is in our closed theme readings, okay? But this is kind of showing us where you're starting from, right? Like, this is the thing that sparked this idea going forward, right? And then you will want to get that posted Wednesday, Thursday, no later than Friday, so that you can be posting replies to other people over the end of the week, okay? Now, again, I do want to remind you, check that rubric, right? Check that rubric because, what you have then is responding to your other people and adding in those two replies so that people can get that feedback on what you are sharing, right? Like, they can give you that information, they can give you those thoughts, they can give you that kind of, hey, here's what I see about that as well, okay? And then you're going to get into some library research. And this little assignment here kind of walks you through how to use the Ivy Tech library databases. All universities subscribe to databases, and these are big blocks of resources that are searchable and that you can use to do your work, okay, to research your papers, to use in your research, to really help you back up your arguments, okay? One of the great things about these library databases is that they're already pre-vetted. And by that, I mean, when they subscribe to, and the one that they're sending you to is the Academic Search Complete. When Ivy Tech subscribes to that, the company that curates all that, they've already vetted these sources. They're good sources, they're valid sources, they're reasonable sources, they're from reputable sources, they have all the information you need to verify and validate them. You don't have to agree with the information, obviously, I mean, because it gives you a wide variety of topics and viewpoints, but you can't really argue the source. Like, the source is a good source. And so anything you find on these library databases are going to be really solid pieces for you to use. So it's going to walk you through how to do that. And then it's going to ask you to go use that to find a topic. Now, this is not a source that you're going to use in your paper. Okay, so it's asking you to find a different source. And it's going to ask you some specific questions about it. And it's just to walk you through that process so you know how to find the information that you need with that source and to be able to use it inside of your research paper. And then we get to the online discussion, expanding your research, okay? This is where you are going to share with your readers a article that you found that really starts to reveal your topic. So we've already posted what your topic is, right? And what you're thinking about, what that information, you're getting that feedback. Now here's a source. And as you find that source, okay, and you are getting ready to post that up to the discussion, introduce it to your reader. Let's see what that is. What do we need to know to understand that source and to say, yeah, that's going to be a really good source for you? Or here's what I see that it's sharing, right? Again, you're going to want to get that up early so that people have access to it and can do their replies. As you're doing your replies, then it offers you some things to think about in your replies. You do need to respond to at least 2 people. And again, look at that rubric. We want you to be on multiple days. We want you to have fully developed, uh, fully explained posts where you say, hey, here's what I see. Here's my thoughts. Here's what I see out of this. Here's a question that I have about it. Here's something that I would be looking for. And again, to get the most points, you're on there multiple days. Your posts are fully fleshed out, and you're doing more than just the required 2 replies, that you're applying to 3 or more people to get the most possible points. And then finally, the big assignment for this module, which is the mini annotated bibliography. And what this is where you are going to take the sources that you have found that you are thinking about using in your paper, and you're going to annotate them. Now, we talked about annotations before, where you're really taking that good, critical, solid look at articles and being able to say the who, the what, the where, the when, yes, but also the why and the how, and what is the value of this, and how do I know it's really good source. So what you're going to do is you're going to go out, and for this assignment, you're going to find at least 2 sources, okay? You're going to find at least 2 sources. And then inside of your mini bibliography, your annotated bibliography, you're going to put the APA or MLA citation on there. And then you're going to evaluate this source, okay? So describe it and summarize it. What is the article about? What is the information covered in it? What are the big points? In a paragraph, that's going to be about a paragraph, you're going to really explain that source. Think about like this. Like if you came in and you said, I want to write my paper about blank, here's a source that I think I might use. Well, I, as the teacher or the reader, the audience, might be like, well, what was that source about? You're going to tell us that in a few sentences. What was that source? Big, broad topics, the main points it makes, or is there like something it really focuses in on, or what is it really looking at, right? But how would you retell that article to somebody else who hadn't read it yet? And then in this, what do you see for its usefulness, its credibility, and its balance? So what are you thinking about using this paper for? This would be really great to set up the argument. It really has some background information. I like this because it really shows a solution. How do you think you're going to use the paper? What do you see for it in bias and reliability, right? Like, you know, it comes from this source. This is reputable because, right? Or this guy has so many years experience researching whatever, right? You really want to be able to prove not just what's in it, but why it's going to be useful for you, how it's going to really help promote your position. All right, so that is this module in a nutshell. That kind of gives you the quick overview of what we are doing. Again, we're doing this in support of the research paper, which you will start next week. The first draft will be due on week number 7. You guys are doing some great work. You guys are staying up to speed. You guys are really grinding through things, and it is so impressive. I know that the weather's changing now. Things are getting a little cooler. It's nicer. You want to be outside more. Get out while you can. I totally get it. If you've got kids, school's changing, you got all these things going on, all these other commitments. The fact that you guys are still up to speed and you're staying up to date, you're staying on top of things is a credit to you. Keep it up. We only have 3 more weeks left. If you have any questions, you have any problems, you have any kind of something that I can help you with, please make sure you're reaching out to me so that I can answer those questions. You can email me. That is always the best way, jdwells@ivytech.edu, or you can also use the communication tab inside of IvyLearn. That will also get it to me. But again, guys, you guys are doing some great stuff. Keep it up. Let me know if I can help you. Good luck.